Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham. Somehow, someway, there are Aaliyah Boston. Somehow, someway, there are 0 Indiana Fever players in the three-point contest.
0. Not 1. The team at the dead center of this entire league, the team everybody is tuning in for, has nobody in the three-point contest. And the reason why is messier than a simple snub, because there's a number buried in this story that flips the whole thing on its head. I'll get to it. Stay with me.
Caitlin Clark declined. Aaliyah Boston, not invited. Perhaps the biggest miss of them all, the viral sensation, the second biggest name in the WNBA, the point princess herself, Sophie Cunningham.
So here's the roll call of who is not shooting on Friday night. Caitlin Clark, the most recognizable three-point shooter on the planet, invited, said no. Aaliyah Boston, who's quietly leading the entire WNBA in three-point percentage, not in it. And Sophie Cunningham, the most viral role player the league has produced in years, shooting a career high from deep, left out completely. Now the host calls her the point princess. And yeah, that's the internet's nickname, not a stat. But keep the pattern in your head. The biggest names, the best percentages, the faces actually selling this league right now. None of them are in the building for this event. And the part that should genuinely bother you isn't the nose. It's what those no's are worth in real dollars. Hold that thought.
Fudd, Bridget Carlton, Natisha Heidemann, and Janelle Saloon. As KC at Behind the Line would say, who, and who? Ryan Howard.
So who did the league actually get? 6 names. Marina Mabrey, out of Toronto. Ryan Howard from Atlanta. Rookie Azzi Fudd in Dallas. Bridget Carlton in Portland. Natisha Heidemann in Seattle. And Janelle Saloon with the Golden State Valkyries. And I want to be fair here because the easy take is to laugh at this list and move on. Don't. These are not random names off the street. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, this field actually includes 6 of the 10 best three-point shooters in the entire league this season. Mabrey leads the WNBA in made threes, 82 of them, more than anybody alive in this league right now. Howard is right behind her at 79. On pure shooting, this is a legitimate contest. But here's the problem the league cannot spin away. Being a great shooter and being a name that makes a casual fan stop scrolling are two completely different things. And the WNBA just built an entire made-for-TV event around the first thing while throwing away the second.
Marina Mabrey, Azzi, there's like no actual superstar name in this bunch. The biggest name in this bunch is probably Azzi Fudd, and she's the biggest name not because of her game, she's the biggest name because of her girlfriend, Paige Becker.
Now the host says the biggest name in the field is Azzi Fudd, and that she's the biggest name because of her girlfriend, not her game. Let me push back on half of that. Yes, Azzi Fudd and Paige Buchers are together. That's public. Both of them have talked about it openly, and it absolutely raises her national profile. That part is true, but writing off her game is lazy. This is the #1 overall pick in the 2026 draft. This is a UConn legend who was one of the top recruits in the entire country before she ever turned pro. She's averaging over 13 points a game as a rookie and shooting nearly 39% from 3. And here's a piece of history most people don't know. Fudd is only the 4th rookie ever to shoot in this contest, joining Kelsey Mitchell back in 2018, Ryan Howard in 2022, and Sonia Citron last year. And in the entire history of the event, no rookie has ever won it. Not one. So if Fudd goes out there Friday and actually takes the crown, that's not a footnote, that's a record. The league didn't get the biggest star, but in Azzi Fudd they got the most interesting story in the field, and they should be leaning all the way into that instead of everybody dunking on the lineup.
Aaliyah Boston, 2nd in the league, 46.9%. Maddie Seacrest, but then you got Sophie Cunningham at 6, 43%. Kelsey Mitchell at 10th, 42.3%.
Let's talk about the percentages, because this is where the snub stops being a vibe and starts being math. Aaliyah Boston is shooting north of 46% from 3. That is not 6th in the league. That is not 5th. According to numbers cited by ESPN, that is the best three-point percentage in the entire WNBA among qualified players. The single most accurate three-point shooter in the league is a member of the Indiana Fever, and the league looked at her and said, no thanks. Then there's Sophie Cunningham, at a career-high clip climbing toward 44%, one of the top handful of shooters in the whole league, also left out. Kelsey Mitchell, an all-star drilling threes on real volume, left out. So the Fever, the team with the league's best offense this season, a team sitting at 12-8 when these names dropped, has 3 of the most efficient shooters in the sport, and the three-point contest features exactly 0 of them. Compare that to how the NBA handles this. The NBA will grab a big man, a Karl Anthony Towns type, and toss him in just to give the field a wild card and some flavor. The WNBA had the best pure shooter in its own league, sitting right there and didn't even find a lane for her.
Caitlin Clark was invited to participate in the three-point contest, but declined. She was not the only one who declined. Sabrina Ionescu declined as well. I wonder if these two, if Sabrina heard Caitlin Clark decline, and Sabrina was like, well, if Caitlin's not doing it, I'm not doing it. If Caitlin heard Sabrina decline, and Caitlin's like, if Sabrina's not doing it, I'm not doing it.
Okay, but let's be honest about the other side, because this is not all on the league. 3 of the biggest no's this year were players choosing to sit. Caitlin Clark was invited and declined. Again, Sabrina Ionescu, the reigning champion, a 2-time winner who owns the single highest score in the history of this contest across both the WNBA and the NBA. 37 points, she declined too. And Kayla McBride, who is the active career leader in made threes with 793 of them, also said no. Those are player decisions. The league can't drag them onto the floor. So the host floats this idea. Did they talk to each other? Did one hear the other was out and think, well, if she's not doing it, I'm not doing it either? We have no evidence of that, so file it as pure speculation. But the underlying question is real, and it's uncomfortable. Why are the biggest stars in a booming league suddenly allergic to the one event built to show off exactly what makes them special? Part of the answer, and CBS Sports made this point, is that All-Star Weekend has stopped being a break. It's become an economic engine. Players get shuttled from sponsor appearance to sponsor appearance, media hit to media hit, the entire weekend. For someone as in demand as Clark or Ionescu, adding a competitive shooting event on top of that grind is one more obligation on a weekend that's already wall-to-wall. That's an understandable human reason, but understandable and good for the product are not the same thing. And when 3 of your 4 biggest draws all independently decide the juice isn't worth the squeeze, the league has a much bigger problem than one empty contest.
Who do you think you are declining? Now, selfishly, my instant reaction was this. Go out like Larry Bird, CC. Go out like Larry Bird. Don't go out like LeBron. Wear that Indiana Fever warm-up and destroy the field. That Marina Mabry, Caitlin Clark final, that would have been nasty.
That Larry Bird line is the dream, isn't it? Show up in the warm-up, don't even take the jacket off, and bury the entire field. Bird actually did that at the very first NBA three-point contest. Walked in and basically asked who was playing for second. That's the energy the host wants from Clark. And honestly, it's the energy the fans want too. But here's the reality that keeps getting lost. Caitlin Clark has never shot in a WNBA three-point contest. Not once in her career. And this isn't the first near miss. Last year, the 2025 contest, she was actually set to do it, on the Fever's home floor in Indianapolis. The perfect stage, and then she suffered an injury just days before All-Star Weekend, and had to pull out of both the contest and the game entirely. So there's a real history here of the stars aligning and then collapsing at the last second. Now this year, she's healthy enough that she's a named starter in the All-Star game itself. She's playing Saturday. She just won't shoot on Friday. And that combination is exactly what makes this so frustrating for people. It's not that she's hurt and sitting everything. She's suiting up for the main event and skipping the shooting contest specifically. For the greatest college shooter most of us have ever watched, a player whose entire brand is launching bombs from the logo. The fact that we have still never seen her in this setting on the biggest stage is genuinely strange. And every year it doesn't happen. That window feels a little smaller.
The WNBA, they continue to diminish Caitlin Clark at every turn. They continue to disrespect Caitlin Clark at every turn. She doesn't owe the league jack squat. Which is fair, I guess. We're sticking it to the man. But at the same time, as fans, we would like to see her compete. So that was one good reason that I saw. Another good reason is that she's actually really hurt.
Now there's a real argument on Clark's side, and the host lands on it. The league has, in a lot of fans' eyes, taken shot after shot at her all season, downplayed her, officiated her roughly, treated the single biggest gate attraction in the sport like an inconvenience. And if that's how you feel you've been treated, why would you go do the league a favor and headline their Friday night? She doesn't owe them anything. That's a legitimate position. Two things can be true at once. You can completely understand why she'd decline, and still be disappointed as a fan who just wants to watch her shoot. Then there's the injury theory. On the podcast, the guest floats the idea that Clark might actually be dealing with something lingering, and that's the real reason she's out, not principle, but her body. And look, if that's true, it changes the conversation entirely. But here's where I'd push back on running too far with it. She is listed as a starter in the All-Star game. If there were a serious injury keeping her out of a low-contact shooting contest, you'd expect real caution about the actual game too. So the honest read is, we don't know. Maybe it's load management. Maybe it's exhaustion from that appearance grind. Maybe it's a principled stand. Maybe it's a nagging tweak she's protecting. Treat the injury angle as unconfirmed speculation, because that's exactly what it is right now. What we know for sure is the outcome. The one player who could have single-handedly made this the highest-rated three-point contest in league history, for whatever combination of reasons, will be watching it like the rest of us.
Now, Sophie Cunningham, Fever guard Sophie Cunningham, was not selected to participate in Friday's three-point contest during WNBA All-Star Weekend. Cunningham is shooting a career-high 43.7% on threes this season, which ranks 6th in the league. This is a huge miss. The fact that you didn't even invite her. Okay, you invited CC, she said no. You invited Sabrina, she said no. You didn't even invite Sophie Cunningham?
So now let's really sit in the Sophie Cunningham decision, because this is the one I think the league got most wrong. Start with the resume. She's shooting a career best from 3, right around 44%, one of the very best marks in the entire WNBA this season, per ESPN's numbers. And she's doing it as a bench player, which is almost unheard of. She comes off the bench in nearly every game, and she's putting up numbers that have her squarely in the 6th Player of the Year conversation. She has finished in the top 10 in the league in three-point percentage in multiple seasons. This is not a gimmick pick. She can genuinely shoot. Now add the part the league claims to care about most: eyeballs. Cunningham is arguably the most viral non-superstar in the sport right now. The finger point thing defending her teammates became a full-blown meme. She's turning up at UFC events. She's got a podcast people actually listen to. She was nearly on stage doing shots with a country star before the schedule got in the way. She is, by any honest measure, a marketing department's dream, and they left her out. Now here's the number I told you to hold on to, and this is where it stings. Under the WNBA's new collective bargaining agreement, the players in this three-point contest earn $10,000 just for competing, and the winner takes home $20,000. That is a massive jump from last year, when participants got around $2,500. So this isn't just an honor anymore, it's real money on the table. Which means the league had a legitimate, marketable, career-year shooter sitting right there, who they could have handed a paid national spotlight to, and instead that spot went to a name most casual.
Yet you manage. We invite Ryan Howard over her? Bridget Carlton over her? Natisha Heidemann? Oh, we just had to get a stud bud. Is that it? We had to fill our stud bud status quo? Big miss not having Sophie Cunningham do this event either. Big miss. I cannot be a fan of CC declining. We can all have our reasons, and I can agree with some of your reasons as well. Two things can be true.
And this is the payoff to everything we've been building, so stay with me. The host says it bluntly. Unless you are already a hardcore WNBA fan, you turn on this contest Friday night and you have no idea who any of these people are. And as harsh as that sounds, from a pure television standpoint, he's not wrong. That's the actual risk. The whole point of an all-star shooting contest is to be a doorway. A casual sports fan flips past it, sees a name they recognize, and stops. Clark stops them. Ionescu stops them. Cunningham stops them. Take all three out, and for the uninitiated, it's 6 talented strangers. And here's the history that makes this hurt even more. This event is in Chicago this year. The All-Star Game is back in Chicago for the first time in years. And the last time the three-point contest was in Chicago, back in 2022, Allie Quigley won it. Her 4th title, which is the most three-point contest wins by any player in the entire history of the WNBA or the NBA. Chicago has a real history with this event. This city knows what a great one looks like. And this is the field the league is bringing back into that same building. Now, will the contest itself probably still be good? Yeah, honestly, it might be. Mabry is a legit favorite. She's tied the single-game league records this season for both points. 53 and threes made 9 in a single night. Ryan Howard can catch fire in a heartbeat. The shooting will be real, but great shooting in front of an audience that doesn't know who's shooting is a tree falling in an empty forest.
Unless you are a WNBA fan, you have no idea who any of these 3 people are. I wouldn't be surprised if people turn on the TV. Who's that? Who's that? Yeah, I'm changing the channel. No Sophie Cunningham, no Caitlin Clark, no Sabrina. Me personally, I have no reason to watch.
So let's bring it home, because this whole saga tells you something bigger than one empty contest. The WNBA is having the biggest moment in its history. The audience is finally here, the money is finally here, and that $20,000 winner's check proves the stakes have never been higher. And at the exact moment the league should be doing everything possible to convert casual curiosity into permanent fans, it fumbled its most watchable Friday night showcase. Some of that is on the stars who declined, and they have their reasons. Some of it is on a league office that could not find a single spot for the best shooter in the sport, or its most viral personality. But the result is the same either way, a marquee event that the casual fan has no reason to click on. The contest will happen Friday in Chicago. Somebody, probably Marina Mabre, will lift that trophy and pocket the 20 grand. And good for her, because she earned the season. But the bigger scoreboard, the one that measures whether this league is capitalizing on a once-in-a-generation window, took a loss this week that no shooting display on Friday night is going to erase. So I want to hear from you. Where does the blame actually fall? Is this on Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu and the rest for taking the night off? Or is it squarely on a league that couldn't even get its own best shooters and biggest personalities into the building? Pick a side and tell me exactly why down in the comments, because I read them, and I want to know where you land on this one. If this breakdown gave you a new way to see it, do me a favor and hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed yet, fix that right now so